All right, all right, all right. Give me a Lima Charlie if you can hear me. Test, test, test. Give me a Lima Charlie if you can hear me loud and clear, man. So you probably can see the headline. You can see what I got going on here in regards to, we're back at it again. I guess we can say we're back, man. I guess we can say that we're back. So the president's going to be speaking here soon. Just a summary of kind of the stuff that's already gone down. You got we have some interesting stuff going down, bruh. Some interesting stuff going down. So the president's about to speak. I have the official C-SPAN feed. Of course, they could start late because it's the White House, and they be doing shit like that. All right. So I will. Let me just refresh. Just got out of USMC boot camp. Left my sus. Let's go. Hey man, congratulations for making it through boot camp, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Be like that. Be like that. So your comment is pretty freaking big, though. Let's see if we can fix that. So congratulations on that, man. Hello, this is really stupid, says Joseph. Yeah, a lot of folks are kind of feeling that way, man. It's been a minute, says Chris. Hey, what up, Chris, man? Hopefully everything is well. Hopefully everything is good, man. Literally 4 days ago. Yeah, I remember those days, man. I remember those days. Unfortunately, sucker free, bruh, you might be right, man. Unfortunately, man, you might be right. So I'm waiting for. I mean, they got C-SPAN here. Let me see if I can pull up another C-SPAN. I mean, I would assume. I mean, it's the president. You know what I'm saying? If he need a couple minutes to stretch his legs, you know what I'm talking about? It'd be like that. Oh man. So I guess I got some thoughts, man. I'm gonna put together a formal video. I'm trying to see. Let me go to whitehouse.gov. Whitehouse.gov. I don't see him. It says watch now. Oh wait, he's coming up now. Let's go ahead kick it. Hopefully we got a. I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago.
Yeah, I can't turn it up anymore.
Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Shout out to God, I guess. Hey, so yeah, I mean, their feed wasn't as loud. I had their feed turned all the way up, and I had my volume up as high as it can go. I mean, but so there's the president. The president is saying that I took a couple of notes that kind of jumped out at me. First off, he had the vice president, he had the SecDef, the Secretary of Defense, and he had the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, with him. They just standing there all stoic with the stony face. You know what I'm saying? He's saying that all three of those nuclear sites are gone. I'm hoping to see we get some satellite footage or we get some video. I mean, come on now. This is the U.S. You know, we got that crispy 8K, 4K, 10K footage. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping we get some footage of like the strikes. Maybe we don't want to release that footage because if it is true, what I have on my screen is Sean Hannity's reporting that apparently we used 6 bunker busting bombs on the site at Frodo, and at the other 2 sites we used Tomahawks. If we use 6 bunker busting bombs, that's the first time that the U.S. has used those in battle. We've only tested those. So maybe we don't want to show that footage. We don't want to show the type of damage it can or cannot do until we can assess it. But if we had to use 6, to think about it, those bunker busting bombs, those MOPs, those MOPs are guided. So once they are dropped, then they are guided in by a crew. So my assumption is that they had all 6 follow one another in the same crater. I mean, if this was as deep as they say it was, you know, I'm assuming that the Frodo nuclear site, they probably had all 6 of the GBU 57s, or the MOPs for short, follow one another into into the same source. So, I mean, it's the president of the United States. If he says it's gone, it's gone. You know what I'm talking about? So I've seen videos floating around. I like to see the video from like the White House or from like the SecDef or the DOD or something like that. So I've seen a lot of stuff floating around on Twitter and stuff like that. But I really want to see some genuine stuff that we could rely on. He also said the future attacks will be easy. Future attacks will be easy. Like, all right, I hear you. Like, he doesn't. So let me tell you, the president has been working the phone since we struck Iran. Like, he has been calling all sorts of news agencies. He called Reuters. He called Axios. He got off the phone with the New York Times. He talked to a lot of different people talking about how successful this was. And so he told some folks, that he didn't plan on making other attacks. He told other folks that, if need be, we will do other attacks. But you heard it right from his mouth now. He says that other attacks in the future will be easy. Shout out to God. He did shout God out at the end there. So here's the first thing. First off, let's just kind of do a reset real quick. Israel attacks Iran, purporting that they're on the brink of creating a nuclear weapon. They're attacking them mostly with missiles. Apparently, the missiles aren't able to penetrate. They did attack those other 2 sites but they're not fully, they weren't able to fully do. Let me update this text real quick because he did speak. The president, here, President Trump. All right, president says all planes are safe. President says all sites are completely gone and future attacks will be easy. So, I mean, it does sound like that he is, that they are wanting, the war to end. And so a quick reset. So Israel attacks Iran. They're saying that they're on the brink of possibly getting a nuclear weapon. And so Iran retaliates. They're going back and forth for nearly 2 weeks. In the meantime, the U.S. starts moving assets around. We start moving submarines in place. We start moving F-22s. We start moving B-2s. We start moving joint striker groups with the Navy. We start doing all sorts of different moves, right? And it's starting to be suspected that we may strike as well. And come to find out, the president does approve a plan. We found out about that 2 days ago. We just found out about that 2 days ago. The next day he says within 2 weeks, and then, the next day the actual strike occurs. So let me just tell you some facts from the research that I've done so far. How accurate these are, I think more to come. So first off, the U.S. joins the fight with those by the 3 bombings. We bombed Frodo, we bombed Natsu, and we bombed Insfa. Now I'm probably mispronouncing those, whatever. Israel has been attacking all 3 of the sites. Now, Natsu and Insfa, Israel has been attacking those with missiles, but they haven't been able to quite penetrate. They have a small underground component, but they weren't able to fully do everything. However, the Frodo site, Israel had no capability to get that deep into that mountain to actually penetrate and to get some damage done, right? So it's always been suspected we would have to enter the fight as Big Brother, right? Big Brother might have to enter the fight, make some things happen. Then, so so the bombing continues. They're retaliating. Here's the thing. We dropped that bomb today. We dropped the Tomahawks today. And now the president is demanding that Iran ends the war. The only way we can know how Iran ends the war is, I guess, if you're Iran, think about it. You're Iran right now. You have to know what is Israel and the United States demands. How do you end the war when you don't know the other side's demands if you didn't start the war, right? So if I'm the supreme leader of Iran, thank God I'm not. But if I was, and I'm hearing, so Israel attacks me, I start fighting back. My shit's not really clapping like I thought it was going to clap. I'm not clapping them cheeks like I thought I was. You know what I'm saying? But I'm trying my best. I'm trying to get in there and clap some cheeks. And then next thing I know, Big Brother claps my cheeks. And then Big Brother says, you have to end the war. I'm sitting there like, bruh, how do I end the war? What do I do? Well, apparently the only thing we know right now is that the U.S. has said that they don't want Iran enriching uranium. Uranium says we're never going to stop enriching uranium. Is that the end of the war? Right? Is the end of the war stop shooting missiles but keep enriching uranium? What does the end mean? I don't know what the hell the end means. I hope we get more information on that. Sean Hannity is reporting the type of payload that we use. Now, if Sean Hannity's reporting the shit, I think y'all can rely on that he's pretty accurate because, you know what I'm saying, he got that direct phone line with President Trump. Sean Hannity's reporting that we use 6 bunker busting bombs on Frodo. We use 30 Tomahawks on the other 2 sites. I don't know if both of those sites got 15 each. I don't know if it was like a combination of the 2. I'm not sure I'm not sure what the deal was. And shout out to EDC for ADHD. Shout out to you, man, for the super chat. I do have a goal for 10 super chats. 10 super chats. We will do a giveaway. First off, let's throw you up here on the screen. It says, thanks for, oh, hold on. Let me get you down real quick, man. Got you real big on the screen. Thanks for, okay. Thanks, brother. God bless. Hey, appreciate you, man. Appreciate that. So what we're going to do once we hit 10 super chats, we're going to give away a CCW bag, man. We're going to give away this is the Eberly Stock Transport 25. And this is capable of concealing a 16-inch AR. And in these times, maybe you want to get yourself a bag that has the ability to conceal an AR. Okay, so I'm gonna give this away once we hit 10 super chats. I think that'll be a pretty good thing because I have a lot of bags that are capable of concealing ARs, and I conceal ARs all the time. And if you got one and it's a 16-inch barrel or smaller, you should be able to fit it. I think it may be 14-inch. I'll check the specs on that, but we'll give away evenly stocked transport 21. But here's the thing. I think that, so they use the 30 Tomahawks. They use 6 bunker busting bombs. But what does it mean, right? What does it mean to end the war? I would like to know that. Listen, me personally, we're back at war. It may be over tomorrow, but do we call this an intervention, guys, or do we call this back at war? So since 1776, the U.S. has intervened over 300 times around the world. All the way back since 1776, we have intervened over 300 times around the world. The few times we were provoked and brought into the war, one of those big times was straight up and down World War II. Okay, the Japanese woke up a sleeping monster attacking Pearl Harbor, but a lot of other times we intervened. Kosovo, Grenada, Panama, the Bay of Pigs, Beirut, the Gulf War, all those times we intervened. Is this called an intervention, or is this going back at war? Which one would y'all call it? Let me know which one would you call this down below, because I am kind of curious, like which one would we kind of like signify this to be, because it is an interesting one in regards to we've kind of stepped back in it again, right? We've kind of stepped back in it again. So we're kind of back at it. But here's the thing. I don't know what it means to end the war. I don't know what it exactly means to kind of shut it down. I'm not sure exactly like how that all comes to be. Shout out to the $5 super chat. Appreciate that, my guy. Redacted Training says, I fear for the false flag. This reeks of the precursor to another search for weapons of mass destruction. Bruh, you might have a point, because I know a lot of folks, they still hear the sounds of Colin Powell's ringing in their ear, and they're nervous about the precursor to put boots on the ground. I pray for all the thousands of folks, thousands of people that are in the Middle East region right now, whether you're family, you're active duty, you're a civilian GS worker, you're a WG worker, you are a contractor, whatever. If you're connected to us and you're an American, you're in the region, shout out to you. Hopefully you're keeping safe. But there's some things I want y'all to pay attention to here, and I'm going to make a video, but it's just some things that kind of like jump out in my head as I heard the president speaking. So here's the thing. If Iran stops firing missiles, and I want you to take note of this, it has been more than 24 hours since Iran has shot missiles at Israel. Is the war over? What does it mean for the war to be over? They have not shot missiles at Iran or at Israel in over 24 hours. Is the war over? Is it over when they stop enriching uranium? Who gets to say that they stop? Do they have to send somebody in? Do we go in? I feel like there's just so much that we don't know about that kind of makes me curious about it all together. So according to the New York Times, Iran officials, and it's hard to believe Iranian officials, but these are the only people that we can believe this report. They said the bombing occurred at 02:30 in the morning. 02:30 in the morning. They're 7.5. I think they're like 7.5 hours ahead of us or something like that. So I think that means that it happened at 1900 Eastern today. Right now it's 22:18 Eastern time. So that means that it happened a little bit more than 3 hours ago. So we don't have the exact TikTok of it yet. We should get more of that. All we have is the president coming out on True Social. That was the first indication we got that it happened. But this is Iranian officials saying that it happened at 02:30 in the morning. That means it happened about 19:30 Eastern Standard Time. But what do you think the Iranian response is going to be? I'm going to get to that here in a second, because I think I know what we should be thinking about, what you should be thinking about, what I'm thinking about already. I'm going to get to that here in a second. But over 24 hours since the last missile attack, and now we have different senators. We have the Senate Majority Leader supporting what President Trump did. But one thing I'm concerned about is, and I don't like to talk about the politics too much, is that they only, apparently so far the reporting is that they only briefed Republicans before they did the strike. I'm already think that Congress are a bunch of chumps for not requesting that they get an opportunity to be briefed beforehand and that they get an opportunity to vote, because I don't know if this can be considered a defensive act or if this should have been a part of the war powers. I think that this is something that should have been debated. Like, I voted on a member of Congress and I would hope that they get an opportunity to declare war. And I think you're a chump if you haven't requested to be briefed on the stuff. But that's just kind of like my initial thoughts on it, right? But everybody kind of like has their different briefings. The House Speaker was briefed. The Majority Leader in the Senate was briefed. Senator Tom Cotton seems to agree with it. Of course, Lindsey Graham is sucking penis, and he agrees with it 100%. So all these different senators are coming out. They're all about it. They really believe on what's going on. And let me see if I can pull up some of the comments that some of these folks are saying, because I think it's significant that we have a lot of these senators that are kind of just like all on board, but they kind of waited for it, like, I guess, for it to happen, because I don't really know where their stance was before it happened. So here's what we got from Senator Cotton. It says, Iran has waged war of terror against the United States for 46 years. We could not allow Iran to get nuclear weapons. God bless our brave troops. President Trump made the right call. To the Alatos should recall his warning not to target Americans. So they did recall that warning, that they believe that all American citizens are fair game. They believe that anybody is fair to go for. So Iran, of course, is trolling Senator Cotton, right? So this is what Iran, they didn't subtweet him, but they did get underneath his post. And this is like kind of like one of their Twitter accounts that's ran by them. This is Cotton. This is Senator Cotton when he was still active duty. I don't know what he's in. This is a bunch of gold. I don't know, whatever. I feel like y'all have really weak responses, Iran. Like, I don't think that's a strong response from you guys. But, it is what it is. So take it with a grain of salt. So we got Tom Cotton coming through with his support. Of course, Lindsey Graham coming through. And hopefully he comes up for air. Because, sometimes it's hard for him to breathe. But this is what he says. He subtweeted what the president said. He says, good. This was the right call. The regime deserves it. Well done, President Trump. To my fellow citizens, we have the best Air Force in the world. It makes me so proud. Fly, fight, win. Of course, he used to be a JAG in the Air Force. And the Air Force is the B-2s and all that good stuff. Okay, so, of course, I would be proud if the Marines were the ones that did the stuff. I'm not going to lie to you, right? That was the gold stolen from Iraq. Okay. I got you. So, that is Lindsey Graham's statement on the piece. So we got Lindsey Graham kind of like doing his thing, his normal thing that he always does. But everybody's not like all on board with that. We have folks that are kind of wanting to know where was their briefing, or why weren't they put into the loop? And, they're coming up with different statements as well. So here is Hakeem Jeffries' long ass statement about the unilateral military action in Iran. So I'm just going to read this very quickly. Donald Trump promised to bring peace to the Middle East. He has failed to deliver on what he promised. The risk of war has now dramatically increased, and I pray for the safety of our troops in the region who have been put in harm's way. Editorial's notes. I mean, was it not, launching a bomb? I kind of, is that not like war-ish? I don't know, man. I don't think Jeffrey served, so maybe he's just being real. Maybe just being real cautious with his words. Paragraph 2, President Trump misled the country about his intentions. All right. Okay. What do you mean by that? I need more information. Failed to seek congressional authorization. That part's true. For the use of military force, but failed means that it wasn't right. But we will say that he didn't seek congressional authorization and risk Americans' entanglement into a potentially disastrous war in the Middle East. First, the Trump administration bears the heavy burden of explaining to the American people why the military action was undertaken. Second, Congress must be immediately briefed in a classified setting. Third, Donald Trump shoulders complete and total responsibility for any adverse consequences that follow from his unilateral actions. That's what I'm wondering about here in a second, right? That's what I'm wondering about here in a second is like, where does this go from here? Where does this go from here? Senator Thune is the majority leader in the House as well, and he's kind of just on board as well. Just kind of do whatever you want. He is my senator, and his comment is as follows: the regime in Iran, which committed itself to bringing death. Oh no, I'm sorry, he's not my senator. I'm thinking about freaking Ted Cruz. But this is what I would say: the regime in Iran, which is committed itself to bringing death to America and wiping Israel off the map, has rejected all diplomatic pathways to peace. The mullahs' misguided pursuit of nuclear weapons must be stopped as we take action against to ensure nuclear weapon remains out of the reach of Iran. I stand with President Trump and pray for American troops in personal and harm way. Here's the thing, bro. I really want to dissect this statement sometimes. He said, as we take action tonight to ensure nuclear weapon remains out of the reach of Iran. What if this wasn't enough, Senator? That's what I want to know. Like, what if this was not enough? Because according to Iran, they moved their enriched uranium about a week ago or days ago. So you bombed their sites, but they said the uranium is somewhere safe in their country. That's what they said. So what if they stop bombing Israel? They say the war is over, but we're still enriching uranium. Is the war over according to American Israel, or do we have to keep bombing? Do we have to put special forces on the ground? Here's my opinion, hot take. I believe that somewhere in Pakistan or somewhere in the Gulf, we have special forces staged that are ready to go in, whether it's special forces that belong to Israel and they're trained and they're ready to go, special forces directly from the United States. I believe special forces exist, and if need be, will go into the country if they need to do further action. That's just my opinion, because I don't know if bombs are enough. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think bombs are enough? I think that's kind of like the big question here. Appreciate the $10 super chat, my guy. No comment, just all love. Appreciate that, man. Once again, if we hit 10 super chats, man, $5 above, I'm going to give away the Transport 25 by Eberly Stock. This is a CCW bag, which is designed to CCW, conceal carry an AR. So you can conceal carry an AR in the very back of this thing. And it looks like a regular bag. It has a lot of storage for your laptop and your regular everyday stuff as well. But if you had to get down with the get down, it can do what it needs to do. So I don't know. Is this enough? Was that enough just simply doing the bombing? Over 24 hours since Iran has launched any missiles to Israel. Is that a good thing? Does that mean that like everything is good to go? We can go ahead and just stop. I'm kind of curious about that as well. Let's take a look at some of y'all's comments real quick before I go into the rest of some of the things I'm thinking about. Hey, if you got a question, put a Q and a colon. Thanks, Mike and Ike's EDC. Thanks for stopping by, bro. Thanks for being a goddamn member. We appreciate that, man. It makes it easy for me to see your comment if you put a Q and a colon in front of it, kind of like what he did right here. So if you do that, I will be able to see your comment or your question. But I'll go through some of these here in a second just to see what y'all are thinking. Reporter X keeping us updated. I'm just trying to think about it when it comes to SHTF, when it comes to prep, the things that I'm doing and what do I have to do now. I'm going to get to that here in a second. I want to know what some of the stuff that's on y'all's mind. It says Hakeem Jeffries fails in literacy and understanding. Okay, spit your bars, bro. Spit your bars. You know what I'm saying? Andrew says Trump misled no one. He's been saying shit about Iran for 40 years. But you got to think about it. So regime change was forced, right? So Britain, so the UK and America in the 50s funded a coup in Iran. It was a democratically elected leader in Iran. I guess, you know what I'm saying, for whatever reason, we decided to fund and get rid of that. That is what brought in the powers that exist today. Back when we had that regime change in the 50s, first it failed. Eventually, a few months later, it was successful. 1979, everything changed. And we really, once they took over our American embassies, those Iranian students took over the U.S. embassies. They have 52 Americans hostage for over 400 days under President Jimmy Carter. And ever since then, so when you see all these senators saying that they've been saying death to America for 40 years, this is what he's talking about. Ever since they took those U.S. hostages, they're talking about that type of stuff. They're talking about that type of stuff. Appreciate your Mike and Ike's. But the big thing is, and then Casper has a different, you know what I'm saying? Casper has a little different opinion. He says he did mislead the country. He said there will be a negotiation of 2 weeks, and not 24 hours later, they dropped the bond aggressive negotiation. I guess, Casper, I don't read it that way. He says within 2 weeks. Now, could there have been more time for negotiations? I would agree with you, Casper. I think so. But unfortunately, Earl, you may be right as well. You says that I called it. I did put out a video just yesterday saying that I don't think it's in 2 weeks. I think it's within 2 weeks. And I laid out my 10 reasons why I thought that. Do you really think that Iran doesn't lie? Bro, they lie about everything. They've already came out and tried to say that the damage that was caused by America is not that bad. And they made it sound like everything's good, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're going to sweep this shit up. It's going to be all good to go. You know what I'm saying? Hey, appreciate the super chat. $5 super chat coming in from Robbie. Says maybe Iran cut a deal through back channel to allow them to hit those sites. I think they will cut a deal. Otherwise, they could be war in high gas. Listen, first off, high gas. You're right about that. The Strait of Hormuz. I don't know if they're going to directly launch missiles at a U.S. base, at a U.S. ships. I don't know if that is Iran's response. I don't know if that makes sense, because obviously Iran has an example of what happens when they shoot their missiles at something. They've been shooting their missiles at Israel, and between the THAAD system and America helping them off the coast in the Mediterranean Sea, and a lot of their missiles have been intercepted. So I don't know if they would waste the time to shoot missiles at a U.S. base. Here's the thing I am fearful for us is sleeper cells being woken up here in the United States. That's something I think about a lot. Cyber attacks happening. They've already done a cyber attack, according to my notes here. And I'm going to put together a full video. I don't know, have everything all together yet. Let me see if I have my notes about the cyber attack that they've already conducted. No, I don't have the notes yet, but they've already started conducting cyber attacks against Israel. They haven't straight up targeted us yet, according to anything that I have, but I think it's interesting. Here, I want you guys to pay attention to this. So we have force protection levels. We call them FP cons or F cons or whatever. Our force protection levels indicate how federal employees and how military members should have their level of protection for a particular military site or base or whatever. So one thing is Israel has their same equivalent thing. They call it the home front. So this just came out from Israel's home front command. They've changed, in essence, they've changed their force protection level. Changes in the home front command's defense policy with approval of Defense Minister Katz. Following situation asset is decided starting today, Sunday, meaning it literally just started a few hours ago. There will be immediate change in the home front defense command defense policy. As part of the changes, it was decided to move all regions of the country from a partial and limited activity classification to a necessary activity classification, meaning you can't have gatherings of people outside of your family. I don't know, maybe religious services. It says that these guidelines, a ban on educational activities, gatherings in workplaces, except for essential businesses. And I guess they have a way to define essential businesses. You can't have educational activities. You can't have gatherings. You can't have bar mitzvahs. You can't be just kicking it, having a barbecue out front. You can't do any of that right now. They've raised their level of defense. The guideline published in the home front, the full guidelines, blah, 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 blah. So they've raised their same equivalent for force protection. They've kind of like raised their own type of thing, right? And you says, let's see, SSGN. Hold on, I missed that. Teams, guys, straight force protection not changed. Cybers. Okay, I got you. Yeah, so force protection for us, for different commands. Each command normally changes their force protection. Northern Command, Central Command, Pacific Command. But DOD can change everyone's if they want to. The highest right now is CENTCOM. I think they have a force protection Bravo right now. Let me not misquote. I will have to look it up, and I'll look it up before I make my video. Shout out to the $5 super chat from Thomas. Answer my question without even asking. Take my money. Simplify. Appreciate that, man. So yeah, that's the thing. Is just like they've raised their force protection level. They call it their home front command defense. So they've done that. You know what we haven't heard? At least I haven't heard it yet because I was getting ready for this live stream. I have not heard Iran's allies posturing. I haven't heard what the Chinese think. I don't know what the Russians think. I don't know what any of those countries in the Baltic states, except for Kosovo, because Kosovo is our ally. But any of those other countries in the Baltic states, I have no clue what they think about this. So what is the posturing for their allies? I want to know what they want as well. I want you guys to pay attention to embassies. We've already got the report from the American embassy in Jerusalem saying that if need be, they will do QRF, quick reaction evacuations of diplomats. They've already authorized families to leave the area if they want to, but they are thinking about that as well. But if we're starting to look at embassies in the region, the Kuwaiti embassies, the embassy in Israel, any other embassies that are like directly connected, the Emiratis, Djibouti, even though it's kind of far away, any embassy within striking distance, Pakistan, if we start seeing those type of evacuations, that's something we pay attention to as well. So sleeper cells, I am nervous about that, especially now. We did just arrest a guy that had 13 IEDs, improvised explosive devices. Now there's no connection yet that says he had anything to do with anybody from the Middle East. But my point is that if this knucklehead can do 13 IEDs in, for whatever reason, we don't even know why. We don't even know why 13 improvised explosive devices found at a man in Pennsylvania. I don't want sleeper cells to start to be activated because of anything that the U.S. has done. Think about this. Hamas and the Houthis have not done anything to Israel in weeks. They haven't been doing anything. Iran has launched missiles in over 24 hours towards Israel. That leads me to believe that there could be something built up, but I don't really know what it means. I don't know what it means. So, I believe that this could be the outcome. The outcome could be they could stop lobbing missiles and they could say that for them, the war is over, but they're going to continue enriching uranium. What do we do then? This is what I said on my video like 5 days ago. What happens day 2? If day 1 is us bombing, what is day 2? Who says what is day 2? Does Benjamin Netanyahu get to decide what day 2 is? Does the United States get to decide what day 2 is? Do they want regime change? Like, these are the things that I don't know. These are the things I'm curious about. Like, what does that mean overall? And so let me see if I can pull up. Benjamin Netanyahu put out a statement literally a few minutes before the president went up. He just posted it on Twitter. Let's check it out real quick.
To target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do. History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace. And tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength. President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith. Congratulations.
One thing I noticed about that statement is that he put that statement out first in English before he put it out in Hebrew. So, I think that a lot of signals are being put out there. He put, so it's like this strike happened like 2:30 in the morning in Iran, which is like 1 something in the morning in Israel. He made this statement like 3:45 in the morning. He made the statement first in English before he put it out in Hebrew. I think that they're already starting with their politics. All right. So I take what the prime minister says with a grain of salt, because he's been talking this talk since 1995. But they've also already clipped out a portion of what the president said, and they've already created this.
No team has ever worked before. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi
Of course, you would clip that stuff out. See what I'm talking about? They've already started that, man.
Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done.
That's all they clipped out. Talk your shit, bro. Talk your shit. Hey, put a Q colon in front of your question or your comment. It will help me see your question or your comment. Put a Q and a colon in front of your question or your comment. It will help me see your question or your comment. As mentioned before, if we get to 10 super chats within the hour, I will be giving away this bag, the Eberly Stock Transport 21. It is able to transport an AR-sized foldable pistol or AR-223, 5.56, AR-10 if you got something small enough. And I find myself more often than not concealed carrying an AR, and maybe that might be something you may want to do as well. Let's see. The U.S. does want to expose. Let me see. Okay, so the U.S. doesn't want to expose the lever resolution of the satellite. So maybe, okay, I see what you mean. Scrub it tomorrow. I see what you mean. When I was asking about, I want to see a video, might be what's going on. The Dems would run to Blue Sky. That's why the Dems weren't. So you're saying that this is why the Dems weren't briefed. Hey, listen, I think that there's a lot of politics going on, but I do have faith that if you're giving away high level classified secrets, that both sides will be able to keep that under wraps. You know, it is what it is. Robert says, what are the odds that sleeper cells would start striking? I don't know the odds. I don't want to put odds out there. I will leave that to the poly market. Poly market's good at odds. I'm just fearful that it could happen. And I want to do my research before I go out and just saying that it will. Because from 1953 until 1979, the people of Iran were pissed that we forced that coup to have a change in leadership. And 1979 kind of brought that to the head with the taking a hostage of Americans at the U.S. Embassy. Ever since 1979, Iran has been the biggest state sponsor of terrorism in the region. They've held hundreds, if not thousands, of American troops in the region through their proxies, the Houthis, folks going on in Yemen, folks in Iraq, so Hamas. So I think that it is a possibility that in the region they may try some stuff. I don't know their capabilities in the States. I'm just fearful that they exist. I mean, they know they've been enriching uranium. They know that countries don't want them to have it. Is it far stretched to say that they may have been putting things in place for a long time? I don't know. Ben says, what is your own personal war theory in regards to what is the personal war theory? A theory, if I'm missing that, Ben, and my bad, I will have to research that. If you're talking about personal war theory in regards to this, let me know. Or you mean like, is it a theory called personal war theory? And you want to know what mine is because you're catching me cold and I've been felt it. So Trias says, is this the beginning of World War III? I don't know who gets to define what World War III is. Like, who defined World War I and World War II? Were those defined way into battle, right? In 1914, 1920, 1925, 1940, 1939, 1938, as those two wars were going on, what country, what entity, what brainiac got to define what World War I and World War II were? Did it happen while it was happening? You know, that type of stuff is something I think about as well. The what changes come to your mindset with preparedness with this current situation? We can't fight bombs. No, we can't. Prepared citizens are always thinking about what can they do to immediately protect their family. I can't do a lot to protect my family from a major ballistic missile. I don't care how good a bunker I think I have, but me being good at shooting something from 300 yards is something I pride myself at. right? Got that training initially in the Marine Corps, but if I have my neighbor who's an OBGYN, he never served in anything, to get him prepared to be able to do the same thing makes me feel good. Or my neighbor across the street who's a retired CPA who was against guns, now I got her going to the range with me, makes me feel good. So making more prepared citizens, I think, is a good thing. What are my thoughts on how Iran will respond? Well, Nick, you bring up a good point. What do I think they will do in a response? And that is something that does make me kind of like draw pause. I don't know what their initial responses will be. So there's the state-sponsored TV. They are already starting to kind of talk their talk and do all sorts of heavy positioning. But the state-sponsored TV is not the government. Okay, so like, I'm always following what they're saying. So this is one of their state-sponsored TV stations. Mir News Agency is state-sponsored news in Iran. So they're already crafting the narrative. So I still follow this. But, you know, I don't know exactly what the response is going to be from Iran. They've already started to do their big positioning, saying that all U.S. citizens are targets. And they put up a map of their reach in the region. The Iran always does the same thing. So Iran officials react to Trump's claim of attacking on the soil. So they've come out with their different attacks, and they say that all American citizens are ripe targets. They believe that everyone's a target if you're an American citizen. But like I say, this is state-sponsored news. So I take this with a grain of salt. But we're not getting a lot out of Iran right now. So I kind of go with whatever I can get my hands on as it stands right now. Trump talked to Reuters on the phone before he had his interview. When he talked to Reuters on the phone, he told them they should stop immediately. Otherwise, they will get hit up again. The Reuters reporter asked him, they should stop what immediately, Mr. President? And he was saying he wouldn't elaborate on what he was talking about. He wasn't saying they should stop enriching uranium immediately. They should stop bombing immediately, or they will get hit again. So we don't know what it takes to stop this war. That is a big fear of mine, is like, we are not sure what it takes to stop this war, because I would like to know that some of my buddies who are still active duty in the Marine Corps have an understanding of what will keep them from having to go boots on the ground in another dusty ass country in the Middle East. Another thing I want you guys to think about as I talk about the possible responses for Iran is think about everything else that could possibly be going on in the region. Russia has upped their attacks on the Ukraine, just going ham against Kyiv. Israel has upped the things that they've been doing in Gaza. Famine is going crazy. They're showing pictures of kids eating sand. Is it true? I don't know, but it's going crazy there. China's starting to posture harder about taking Taiwan. What if that happens? Do we have enough time to like give our opinions about that? We don't want China taking Taiwan. At least that was our posture a few months ago, right? So it's just so many other components that's going on as we focus on little brother. And once again, little brother didn't have what was needed to get their goal done. Their goal was to penetrate and get rid of the capabilities from building a bomb. Maybe that was stopped, but let's just say that they still have the knowledge of how to build a bomb. You didn't kill enough of their scientists. They still have enriched uranium. Is this over? Are you just going to stop? These are the questions I don't have necessarily the answer to. Coming in with the $20 super chat. Appreciate that. No comment, just all love. I appreciate that, man. As mentioned before, we get to 10 super chats, $5 or more. We'll be giving away this bag. Appreciate you guys for all of that good stuff as well. I'll create a giveaway post and show you guys how you can enter into that type of stuff. But it's just so crazy. Like, so many things are going on as well. But let's just rewind a little bit. Okay, so I think that the most immediate thing that Iran can do is cyber attacks. It's easy. Okay. I think it's something that is digestible. I think it's something that they can already do. And let me see if I can pull up a report of them already starting cyber attacks against Israel. June. Let's see. Nah, I can't show that because YouTube won't like that. But I believe they've already started their cyber attacks against Israel. Now I believe they shift their focus onto cyber attacks when it comes to Americans. And that's one thing I think is an immediate tangible thing that can be done. Ransomware, I'm talking about ransomware as simple as your business. All your information is kept in the cloud and you need access to your information and they hold your information for ransom. The USA may tell you, hey, Lockheed Martin, hey, Citibank, hey, GE Aviation, we know that they hacked your information. Raytheon, we're on it. We promise we're going to try our best. But in the meantime, if you want your information, you got to pay the ransom to Iran. I think that that could be escalated as well, because there's no one to haul off to jail if they start doing cyber attacks against us. All we can do is counter hack. That is like the easiest thing for them to do. Like by far the easiest thing for them to do. They can recruit. And this is what I don't want y'all to sleep on. Iran has almost 90 million people that live in the country. Almost 10 million people live in the capital of Tehran. They have so many people with college degrees, so many people with advanced degrees. They have a lot of brainiacs that come from India, like the country of India. They go to Iran for college. They have a well-rounded collegiate system. They used to, before they started doing the most, they used to send people to America for college and they would go back to Iran with that knowledge. They still send people to Europe for college. You don't think they have the capability and know-how to do cyber attacks? They got brainiacs there. They have a social class. They are able to sponsor state terror in different parts of the country because they have a regime who's brutal, but they have a bunch of brainiacs that live in the country. So like, I wouldn't sleep on that type of stuff. I wouldn't sleep on that type of stuff at all, because it is something that is tangible. It is palatable. And so I think that as we kind of go through and we think about like, what does it mean? You know, what does it mean for them to attack you personally? I think that that's something that is a viable thing that they can go for. And that's something I think about all of the time. Let's see. Hey, appreciate the love there with the $50 super chat, man. That's super well appreciated, Marshall. It's super well appreciated. No comment, just all love. And that's appreciated, man. You know, that's super well appreciated. It helps me doing this type of content and making this stuff happen as well. Shout out to you. Make sure y'all shout them out. But it's just a crazy thing, man. Like, I believe that that is a tangible thing that could be done. I think that's a tangible thing that could be done. So I think lowest on the totem pole, sleeper cells. Next on there is hitting and striking troops in the region. I think top is cyber attacks. That's just what I think is the order of things. And so, and I will tell you this, Aura's not sponsoring this live stream. This is an impromptu live stream. I usually have to talk to Aura and tell them my idea and see if they want to be associated with that video and all the other type of stuff. So I'm talking to you guys about a personal aspect. I personally use Aura for my cybersecurity, like watching over my stuff. That's just what I personally do. And so I advocate that if you use Aura, or if you use NordVPN, or if you use, you know, whoever the hell you can use one of their competitors. I don't care. I just think that you should get some type of way, and I'll put it in chat what I use. You should get some type of way to monitor your credit and also see if your information is on a dark web. And also if you are a victim of cyber attack, that you're able to recover your information without having to wait on the US government. And that's why I like Aura. All 5 of my kids' social security numbers are registered with Aura. My wife's, my information. I personally was a part of the hack in 2014 when the Chinese stole 1 million Americans' social security numbers. I was still active duty in the Marine Corps, and they took my information. They have my birthday, they have my social security number, they have all that shit. So for 10 years, the government paid for my credit monitoring. They paid for my black web monitoring. That expired in 2024. Ever since then, I've been with Aura. So I think it's important. Change your passwords. Find a way to protect yourself online. Like the money I pay Aura every month, because they're a sponsor, but the service is not free for me anymore. It was free when they first got on board. Now I pay them. So for me personally, I think it's whatever you do. If you want to go with Nord or whoever one of their competitors is, I would just find a way to ensure that you have a way to protect yourself and all that type of stuff. So that's one thing I would say is a cyber attack. If you have a loved one in the region, or if you're watching me from the region, someone earlier said they just got out of Marine Corps boot camp. Shout out to you. I think that if you have the ability to let your family go home, you should let your family go home. They had a posting on here that says that diplomatic families in Israel, if you're part of the embassy in Jerusalem, your family was permitted to leave, then absolutely, you should have the ability. You should have the ability to just know, what's going on. You should have everything like tied up and ready to go for you as well. I just think those are kind of some important things. If you're in that Middle East region, send your family home if available. Make sure you're registering, because they have all that information there that says, hey, fill out this little form here, exactly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They have all that information ready for you as well. So another thing that I talked about is, if it takes 5 to 10 years for them to make another bomb, if they have a bomb, I don't even know if they have a bomb, but let's just say the war stops and they say they're not going to stop enriching uranium. We don't send troops on the ground, but they still own the knowledge of how to enrich uranium and make a bomb. Are we going to do this again in 5 to 10 years? Is that what's going to happen? That's why I'm saying, like, these bombs today from a stubborn regime like these people may not be enough. It may not be enough. That was my fear of us even going on into this area. So let me go here. Actually, I do have the information about them doing a hack. Let me see if I can pull this up. So Iranian group hacks Israelis Antiquities Authority social media page. So they've already started hacking. This from the Jerusalem Post. They've already started hacking different sites, different groups in Israel. Now, my fear is that they're going to escalate this now that this has happened. And you can find this on the Jerusalem Post if you want to read this article. Matter of fact, I'll drop it in chat for y'all so you can check it out. But they've already started escalating that. So now, what does that mean for everybody else? Like, what does that mean overall? I think that is something that's super concerning for me. Another thing that I'm worried about is, let me see if I can pull up what the NYPD said. They're escalating their religious centers. The NYPD is escalating what they're going to do. So the NYPD just put out a TikTok of what they're going to do. The NYPD steps up security around religious diplomatic sites in New York City amid the Israeli strikes on Iran, and they updated this today. They have upped their NYPD presence at these religious sites even more after the United States struck Iran. So the governor Kathy Hochul, the New York NYPD police commissioner, they're now sending more folks around religious centers. Which ones? I guess all of them. But now they're worried about sleeper cells. I want to be clear. There is no evidence of a threat right now. But the fact is, the NYPD in cities that have over 4 million people are beginning to posture themselves for the possibility of attacks. And this is the type of stuff that I'm worried about as well. Is like when we have these type of large police agencies starting to posture themselves, they're starting to move around, right? Then I think about that. Like, well, okay, who's making the news next? So we got Israeli home front bumping their stuff up. We have NYPD bumping their stuff up. I'm following my own city in Dallas. Like, are we going to be stepping that up? I haven't heard anything from my city. You know, I'm assuming they're going to be doing it in other cities as well. Mayor Eric Adams is the reason they're making it happen out there. So let's see here. Okay, so let me see if I can pull up their reaction, because as it stands right now, the first official Iranian official's reaction we have, it says, Mr. Trump started it and we will end it. Now, I'm trying to find that statement of who said that, because Iran is always making those type of statements, always making that type of posturing. So I don't really believe it. We will end it. All right, so this is what they say. You started it, we will end it. This is from the Times of India here, and so they're basically saying Iran media warns Donald Trump after strikes on nuclear sites. Airs maps of U.S. military bases in the Middle East. You started it. We will end it. Iran media warns, and this is from Benny Johnson. Take that with a grain of salt. But they are basically they aired their strike capabilities they have. Let me see if I can play this. Oh, wait. Okay. I guess we can mute it. But basically what they're saying is they put a map up of their strike capabilities, and they put it up, and they're speaking, what are they speaking? Pashto, whatever they speak. So they're starting to posture, but they always are doing that type of stuff. They're always posturing and saying what they can and cannot do. So I take that with a grain of salt, guys. Just take that with a grain of salt as they continue to say what they will and will not be doing. That's from the Times of India. But we've used our B-2 bombers to drop 6 bunker busters. So let's reset real quick for those that just may be joining us, that just may be wondering. So first off, the U.S., in my opinion, is at a minimum, we're intervening again over 300 times since 1776. We've intervened in something. I don't know if we want to say we're at war or if you want to say we're intervening again. My thumbnail is out there to get you to click on the video, but is it war? I don't know. That's going to be up to you. But the TikTok is Israel attacks Iran to stop them from finalizing a bomb, or if they already have a bomb. Iran retaliates. They go back and forth for nearly 2 weeks. And in the meantime, America's American, right? President's going to play golf. I'm taking my kids to cheerleading. You're going out there eating Scooby snacks and chilling out and having a good old time. And I guess at a certain time, Big Bro decided that Israel wasn't getting the job done. They don't have the ability to penetrate. They're not going to be able to get it done. And so Big Bro is us. We launched 6 bunker busting bombs for the first time in battle in the site at Frodo, and 30 Tomahawks at the other 2 nuclear sites. Let me see if I can get Sean Hannity reporting on this, because he was the first one to report the 6 bunker bustings, which I believe that he was probably on the phone with the president first. I would just imagine that he was on the phone with the president first. And let's see.
We bring in now Lucas Tomlinson. He is live outside the White House tonight. Lucas, I'm sure probably a lot of activity in there.
Yeah, I don't want to watch this whole thing. But so Sean Hannity was the first one to report that they used 6 bunker busting bombs. Now, think about this. Once the bombs are launched, once they're pushed out from the B-2 bomber, they're guided into the site. Now, this is the nuclear site at Isfahan following IDF strikes. On the bottom right of the screen, I don't know if that is earlier photos, because Israel has been hitting Isfahan and they've been hitting Natsit for days. But there's a little bit of underground capabilities, but I guess they didn't need bunker busters for those, right? Now, they use Tomahawks for those 2 sites. But for Frodo, we use 6 bunker busting MOPs, GPU 57 bombs to penetrate Frodo. I'm assuming they put them in one after another. Ladies, you know the position. Okay. One after another is my assumption. And so if that's the case, I think that was the only way we might have had the opportunity to penetrate deep enough there. But Iran has already said they have moved the enriched uranium a long time ago. They already moved that stuff. So I guess we're destroying the facilities, but we may not have actually destroyed the enriched uranium. So that's something we got to think about. So continue with the TikTok. Now we've used the Tomahawks. We use that. The president comes out. He speaks. He says that it's time for Iran to end the war. No one knows what that means. I'm assuming the diplomats know what that means. He came out with the vice president. He came out with the SecDef. He came out with the Secretary of State. What does it mean to end the war? Stop lobbing missiles at Israel. They haven't lobbed a missile in 24 hours. Is the war over? Like, when is the war over? Is it over when they stop enriching uranium? They said they're not going to do that. What's the next move? Who decides the next move? Israel gets to decide. Do we put troops on the ground? Do they put troops on the ground? Do we use special forces? Because I do believe there's special forces in Pakistan. That's just my opinion. I don't have any evidence of that. But it only makes sense that somewhere staged in Pakistan, we just had the Pakistan army chief for lunch a few days ago. We have not had the Pakistan Army chief for lunch in almost 2 decades. We've only had the head of state of Pakistan. He has lunch with the Pakistan Army chief. I don't know if he's reconciling, saying like, hey, you know, we had to go into your country to take out bin Laden. We cool, right? We tight. You know what I'm saying? We didn't ask your permission to go. We didn't ask your permission to go in Pakistan and take out bin Laden. We good? Okay, cool. I want to put some special forces in Pakistan on the west side of the country. Are you cool with that or what? What's up? What's good? I mean, what's good? That's just my opinion. I don't know if that's the thing, but I believe that what's next if these bombs are not enough, right? So does Israel get to make the next call? So that's the TikTok as it stands right now. Everybody coming out on the Republican side seems to be lining back up because it seemed to be like an inter-party feud. Some folks saying you weren't going to take us back in war. Some folks saying go for it, hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. The bombs got dropped and they seem to be coming back together. I want everybody to come together. I want it to be a uniparty language. Okay, at the end of the day, our president has used our troops to attack an adversary. It is time to speak in one language and have inner party spats behind closed doors. But I do not think it shows strength if we don't have a uniparty response, which is pray for the troops, help everybody safe, give us a classified briefing, but like stop I think it's important to have that type of stuff, right? That's just my opinion. But everybody's kind of like getting in line behind these things. Everybody's kind of like lining up and they're kind of doing what they're supposed to do and talking the way they're supposed to talk. I guess we'll see where that goes. So the strikes on them, the United States conducted the airstrikes on those 3 facilities. The president confirmed it first. Now, the thing is that these actions escalated tensions in the region. Iran's Atomic Energy Organization condemns the actions. They say it's illegal under international law. American forces have safely withdrawn from the Iranian airspace. Thank you so much. AOC's out here already coming out here talking and doing the most. She says that the president's disastrous decision to bomb Iran without authorization is a grave violation of constitutional and congressional war powers. He has impulsively risked launching a war that may ensnare us for generations. It is absolutely and clearly grounds for impeachment. Okay, she already out here doing the most. One thing I would say, listen, this is what I would say. If you haven't served, some of your language, you got to peel that. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Sometimes you need to watch your language. You know what I'm saying? You should focus on the troops because I know you're talking about the president, but the president didn't fly the plane. All right. Airmen did. Okay, so can you acknowledge that they made it home safe, AOC? Can we get a small snippet of that? You know, can we get a little bit of that? Now here's the first move by a Democrat who agrees with the president. Senator John Fetterman says that, as I long maintained, this was correct move by POTUS. Iran is the world's leading sponsor of terrorism and cannot have nuclear capabilities. I'm grateful for and salute the finest military in the world. I like your last statement, Senator, but why are you not demanding to take a vote on like war or be briefed first? I would be a little bit mad. You know what I'm saying? I would be a little bit mad that I'm not getting briefed first. But at the same time, if we get more information that they were at the brink, then we might be right there with you. We might actually be right there with you. And so those are the type of things that I'm worried about as well. So that's a TikTok of what happened. My TikTok of what I think could happen next, and kind of going from least to most. I think that the least concern is sleeper cells being activated here in the United States, whatever the hell that means, whether it's literally attacking federal buildings, property, or people here in the U.S. Second, I think that it's forces in the region that could be attacked or harmed. And I think the easiest thing to do is cyber attacks. I think that's like the easiest thing for them to do. I think that will be their immediate response. I think they wanted to see what the president was going to say first. I don't think they give a F what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had to say. They wanted to see what was going to be said in regards to that. I kind of think that was what the deal was. So the overall, I'm worried about that. There's already evidence of hacking going on. Now, there's a reporter that is directly in Israel. So Barak Ravid, he is with Axios, but he's in Israel. He makes most of his posts in Hebrew, but he works for Axios. He's also a CNN analyst. Take that with a grain of salt. Axios, CNN. I think he's a pretty good reporter. He says, U.S. president tells me tonight on the phone. He got on the phone with him right before he went and made a speech. We had a great success tonight. Your Israel is much safer now. Your Israel is much safer now. That leads me to believe he really did talk to the president. But my point is that the president, for an hour and a half, he was working the phones, bro. He talked to so many reporters in an hour and a half. It's not even funny. And he's trying to push the narrative out there, talking about how successful they are, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that is the biggest kind of like overall summation of what's going on here. I'm trying to see if there's any other big news that I want to talk about, because I think I got my big summary here. Okay. I don't know how accurate this is, guys. Okay, this is Julia Davis News. I noticed she was a correspondent with CNN. I don't know what she does nowadays. But so this RT posts this. This is the Situation Room, they say, while bombing Iran. I don't know how accurate this is, because to my understanding, wasn't the president in West Palm Beach golfing? I guess maybe they built a Situation Room somewhere. You know what? That makes sense. I would assume somewhere on his resort they built a Situation Room, because he is the president. But she posted this to say that there's no sign of Tulsi Gabbard. She's the director of national intelligence. I mean, this is not a very wide photo, sis. So she could be around there. I don't know. I just feel like you're just stirring up controversy to stir up some controversy. That is something to think about. Now, here's the thing.
And as
let's look at this real quick.
We're going to see the fruits of this decision tonight play out for many, many years to come. And if the Nobel Peace Prize were worth anything anymore, I would say the president certainly deserves one.
So that is what they're saying, is that they think that he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. I wanted to put this map up to say a certain point. Those are the three sites that we hit: Frodo, Natsud, and Isfahan. But the range of their strike range, he was at the White House today, says Jay Campbell. Okay, appreciate that. I thought he was in West Palm Beach. Appreciate that update. So their striking range is every single one of these countries on the map, plus parts of the Mediterranean. They're on the far west. The entire Strait of Hormuz, you know, they have a big striking range with their ballistic missiles, and we have troops all over the region. So that is why I put that at number 2 as a possibility of that happening. Watch this live as ESPN announces that they made the strikes at a baseball game.
Today, President Donald Trump will address the nation tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern time regarding the attack on Iran earlier today. ABC News will have live coverage. He is sick.
The reason I wanted to play that is NBC is showing a baseball game. Okay. This is I think the College World Series. They're interrupting to talk about the strike that we did. This is how big this is for America. This is how big this is for the, what it could mean for us stepping into another war, possibly. We got sports networks that are possibly interrupting their broadcast to talk about what has gone on today. I think that's really big. So I don't know. I think that is kind of like my biggest TikTok. Hold on, let me go here because I got to check on my boy Steve, see if Steve has any updates for me. Real quick. Okay, no. All right, no updates from Steve. All right, so look, guys, that was kind of like my big TikTok. I'm gonna send you guys over. To Agenda Free TV. He is not right or left or anything. It's Steve right here. I'm gonna kind of put my thoughts together in a video. He gives like super accurate information about what's going on currently, and he streams for like 10 to 14 hours at a time. So if you're for somebody that's going to like follow this from cradle to grave, it will be Steve. So I will send you guys over to there. Give me a second to find the live stream. Like
While we're going there, hold on.
information about what's going on currently. And he let me mute myself.
I'm sorry. I muted myself. I muted myself. Sorry, I'm back.
Oh, never mind. I can't do it. I can't do it. But yes, go check him out, guys. Go check him out. He definitely would make that thing happen for you guys. I appreciate y'all once again for checking me out. Shout out to everybody that is here. If this is your first time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, thank you once again for watching me run my grade. Shout out to my mods for making it happen. I should have cleaned up the chat a little bit more. But for everyone else, we will speak.